Welcome to Chalk Talk, Danville Public Schools weekly news magazine. I'm Diane Locker, your host. I'm here with our superintendent, Dr. Stanley Jones, and we're here, first of all, to welcome you to our new 2018-19 school year that will be kicking off next week. We're in, I would say, an unusual place from where you usually see Dr. Jones and I talking to you, and we're here for a reason, and I'm going to let Dr. Jones tell you about that. Why are we here sitting in a gym?
We are sitting in the gym at Woodrow Wilson Intermediate School because we're reopening Woodrow Wilson Intermediate School, and it will serve students who've been in grades 4 and 5 at GLH Johnson and Woodbury Hill. So this was a school that was closed, I believe, 5 years ago. We had a conversation, or several conversations with the school board last year about overcrowding in our schools and what we could do about it, and we knew that this building was empty and still functional, so the board agreed to reinvest and reopen this school. So we'll be serving about 330, roughly, 4th and 5th graders who live in this community.
That's another thing, and that you've had phenomenal community support here, in the point that we've got them even here helping us with the shrubbery.
We've had lots of volunteers. There's tremendous enthusiasm about reopening this school, and it doesn't matter why it was closed. What matters is that I think the community collectively believes it's the right thing to do, and there's some enthusiasm around that. And so we've had lots of groups volunteer, with the aesthetics of the outside. We had some groups volunteer to help teachers move some of their supplies into the school. And I suspect going forward, we're going to continue to have lots of volunteers.
Now, one of our new school board members is kind of heading up our parent group here, aren't they?
Yeah, we have Ms. Cobbs, who's one of our school board members, started an organization called Parents of Schools. And her goal really was simply to get parents involved and help them to understand how the system worked.
How does Parents of Schools differ from a PTA?
I don't know that it really does in terms of spirit. I think organizationally, it's probably has a little more agility than your typical PTA, but in terms of what they want to accomplish, they really want to support what's happening in schools.
Now, you said that we're a 4th and 5th grade school, and it sounded like and I think you made the point, that it takes some students out of Woodbury and Johnson because of the overcrowding in those schools. But that's not the only thing. Doesn't this also give us an opportunity for the grade levels? It would be like K through 3 left at Woodbury and Johnson,
right,
and the 2 levels here of 4th and 5th to concentrate more, maybe have a lower class size, and address the academics better.
Well, it's our goal as a system, and I would think the goal of any community to try to ensure that by 3rd grade, every student's reading on grade level. And we believe in our community, given some of the challenges we face collectively in the community, what can we do to redesign or reform, I should say, our schools to ensure that there's optimal literacy instruction, kindergarten through 3rd grade, so such that all students are reading by 3rd grade. And then in 4th and 5th grade, we focus on learning to read, or reading to learn, rather. Reading to learn. So the emphasis is learning to read, K3, reading to learn, enjoying learning through reading above 3rd grade.
But I guess what I'm saying is not only have we reduced class sizes in those 2 schools, we've got a concentrated approach at those grade levels now.
Well, one of the things we wanted to do was to reduce class size at the K3 level, and we want to guarantee a 1-to-15 ratio because we believe that that's ideal. And then we also wanted to have smaller ratios at the 4 or 5 level. So I believe we're going to have about a 1-to-22 ratio in grades 4 and 5 here. But there's a robust amount of research on class size. Some suggest that class size doesn't make a difference. We have to make a decision that we think is best for our community, regardless of what the research says about class size. And what we believe is best for our community is having about a 1-to-15 ratio at K3 is ideal for us.
And I think if you interviewed any teacher anywhere, not just here, they're going to say a smaller class size is better.
The harsh reality is this: teaching has become much more difficult than it used to be. Families have changed. The world has changed dramatically, and we ought to adjust to some of those changes. And part of that is we have students that have significant needs. Being able to manage 15 versus 25 makes a difference.
It's very different. Now, we talked about Woodrow, and that's like probably one of the new things this year. And the whole purpose of our show today is going to be talking about, from your perspective, what is new about this year? What can we expect in this school year? Let's start off by talking about the big bugaboo, and that's money.
Money.
Now, and we've done well. We've done well. Let's talk about the budget, and we had a lot that's been written about it, but tell me the high points of the budget for our school year this year, and I think one of them, and that you've got to take some credit for, is our teacher salaries now.
Exactly. Well, if we pay attention to what's happened nationally, we know that teachers have made lots of noise about whether or not they're paid appropriately. And I'm very proud to say that we did a salary study here in Danville Public Schools last year, and we developed a salary schedule now that matches the years of experience with pay. And so for each year of experience, there's an increase in pay. And that's what our teachers wanted, and that's what they deserve. And the other thing that's exciting about our salary schedule is that it's the most competitive in the region. Our new teachers start at $42,000 a year.
I think that we need to make that point to the community, is that we have not been competitive in the past, and this is a time across the nation that there's shortages of teachers because not as many people are going into the profession. So you need to be competitive.
Well, the economy, fluctuations in the economy impact public schools like any other business, but I would argue that we are the business that creates all the other businesses.
We create the things that help those businesses run.
Exactly. We're the profession that creates all the other professions. And so investing in teachers as the backbone of what happens in your community, I think is imperative from an economic viability perspective. In other words, we can't have a viable economic activities in our school division unless we have a high-performing public school system. They have to go hand in hand.
I'm going to make a statement now, and you tell me whether it's true or not. The fact that we had a salary change and we've upped the salary, hasn't that made our teacher hiring this year easier?
Well, it has, not only hiring, but retention.
Okay.
Because there are teachers that, I think they're teachers, again, who understand how difficult this work is, but feel valued or a little more valued because we've recognized that there were some challenges in our old scale that we needed to address. So we know in some cases we have some teachers that received about an 18 to 20% increase in salary because we adjusted the scale where it needed to be. But we don't have any teacher that had taught with us before who's returned that got less than a 5% increase in salary.
Are we going to start off the school year pretty much staffed? How does that stand, and how does it compare to last year?
Well, I don't know the exact number from last year, but I can tell you that it wasn't what it is this year. We're about 95% capacity in terms of hiring for classroom teachers. And
That's good.
And we haven't been there. The example I would give is, everybody pays attention to our comprehensive high school, George Washington High School. We have a couple of vacancies at George Washington High School.
That's very unusual.
And that's unusual.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that is unusual.
So, and we're confident that we may fill those within the next few days.
When we talk about money, the big thing has been salaries and the hiring of teachers. Was there anything else that was in the budget this year for this school year that is very significant in something that we're going to do, or any new initiatives that you might have?
Well, I think the most significant new initiative is reducing the class sizes at the two elementary schools and reopening this school. And most of the cost for reopening this is really operational costs, and we know that's about less than $200,000. Something that we started last year was we also looked at salaries for administrators, bus drivers, support staff, all the other non-licensed staff. And we did a 4% across the board increase in salary for those folks. But we're still in the middle of that salary study, and we anticipate that as we go into this year, we'll be able to adjust our salary scales for administrative staff, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, et cetera.
Now, beyond Woodrow, beyond the budget and the salaries and things, what other things would you like to emphasize that's coming up in this school year?
Well, so we're opening two brand new career exploration labs at our two middle schools. We
Explain career.
so what we know is that by the time a student reaches middle school, they really have to start kind of thinking about a college and career pathway. And so what we want to ensure is that we have exhausted students understanding the variety of pathways that exist. So we're creating these career exploration labs each of our middle schools, which gives students an opportunity to examine, all these academic and career clusters in STEM education, manufacturing, et cetera. And so as students move from 6th grade to 8th grade, they'll be exposed to a variety of career pathways so that by the time they reach high school, they can begin being a little more exact about what
Zeroed
they,
in on what
wanna-
they might want to do.
exactly.
Now, all of this is done through technology. I think I've been in one of those labs where they go on the computer and they actually experience that job. They're going to be exposed to things that they turn out to like that didn't even know they were
that
going to
didn't know
like.
exist. And they may be exposed to some things in our own community that they don't know exist. Like, for example, Kyocera, which is Kyocera is a advanced manufacturing company that has relocated here because of the precision machine lab at George Washington High School. So there's opportunities right here in our community for our students to graduate and not necessarily go to college.
Well, they also might, I would imagine, through this middle school program, find an interest in that program at GW.
Exactly. And so we want to ensure that this idea that you have to graduate from high school and go to college. For some of our students, if you want to be an attorney, or if you want to be a physician, yes. But there are other pathways that don't require as much college education.
That's been proven nationwide. I mean, that's the college education, while is mainly for professionals, and there are many other things now that can take a high school education with training in high school
Exactly.
or a 2-year technical training.
That's correct. Perfect example, cybersecurity.
Yeah.
We know that's a really growing field. And again, there are college pathways, but there are also pathways between an advanced degree or bachelor's degree that will allow you to be highly technical in that field.
Now, with precision machining, we work through the community college here. Do we have any other programs that we're working where the students can get dual enrollment credit?
We have a number. I mean, the one that gets the most attention these days is advanced manufacturing, but we have a number of auto repair, for example, is a long-standing program at George Washington High School. It's been in place over a couple decades now, but we're trying to expand some of those. There's a certified nursing assistance program at the high school. There a pre-dentistry program, I believe, that exists at the high school, and others.
The point being, there's many opportunities for our students, whether they want to go to college or not go to college, to graduate from high school job ready.
There are plenty of opportunities, but we also need to expand those opportunities. And we know that the state right now is redesigning its profile of a high school graduate. And part of that requirement is that students have internship, externship experiences before they graduate. So we really need to start thinking about how do we connect kids to opportunities to shadow someone or to work part-time over a summer or during a school year for a company and get actual work experience.
The intern experience.
So that as they prepare to graduate, they've actually been in the field.
What we're going to do now is, you and I'm going to attempt to get up off this stage
That
here.
makes two of us.
Yeah. We're going to I would like to go through the school and kind of show people what's going on now, and keeping in mind that we don't have anyone here now. We're just here today to kind of give you a look at what Woodrow is going to look like this year and what's going to happen here. So hang with us and take a walk through the school. We started off sitting back there in what I think are the bleachers. I think what do we have behind us here is we have a full stage here. This used to be a performing arts school. So we have a lot of things in here that are going to come in handy.
Well, we want our students to have, there's some folks that just wants to focus on reading, writing, and arithmetic, but the harsh reality is that we want our students to have a fully comprehensive educational experience here at Woodrow Wilson. So the arts are as important, I would argue, as your core academic subjects.
I always think of way back in my own career, when you get up on that stage, whether it's the stage in your elementary school or your high school, it just makes you feel like a different person.
Well, we talk about soft skills. How do you present yourself in front of an audience? What are your communication skills? A lot of those things are developed, not necessarily sitting in the classroom behind a desk, but on stage and performing in front of a group.
So I think that's going to be really a neat thing. Let's take a trip down the hall here. And we have a balcony too.
Well, this is just, sort of an old school style, I guess, where this is a multi-purpose room. It's a gymnasium, or can serve that purpose, but also can serve as a stage with a balcony. I think it makes it versatile.
Oh, it's space.
It's space.
It's that space. Let's go, and you can see that we're still working here. This is your basic classroom as you find it in a 2018 school or a 1936 school. Classrooms are classrooms.
Classrooms are classrooms, but I believe one of the things that we've done already in this building, and I don't think it's true in this building, I don't know if those are the LED lights or not. I don't think they are, but I know we've been focusing on energy efficiency in all of our schools too, and I know one room we walked in, the lights came on automatically.
Yes.
So
I've noticed that as
yeah.
we've been walking around. But one thing about you didn't see in that 1936 classroom I talked about is this. It looks like it's out of place, but this is the 21st century.
That's the 21st century Promethean board, and that's our connection to the World Wide Web of information.
Yes.
And certainly something we want to engage our students in terms of being connected to the world and having access to information.
Well, I want to say.
So yeah, that's a little different than what we would have seen years ago.
Yeah, but it stands out.
It does stand out.
Wanted to say thank you for coming here today and walking around the school with us and giving us an opportunity to let the community know something about the upcoming school year. It's exciting, and this is the time of year when you were a teacher that everything just seemed like it was possible and wonderful. And this room here that looks like it's empty next week is really going to be full. I see part of it coming through the door right now.
Well,
as we speak, we're getting ready. Do you want to add something else about this upcoming school year?
Well, I think the most important message I can give about the upcoming school year is that this is a community that believes in its children. And the reopening of Woodrow Wilson is certainly a very fine example of our faith and hope in the lives of our young people. And I'm thrilled to be a part of it, and even more thrilled to be in a role to serve, to make sure that we are doing these types of things to really just reinvest hope in our community. And certainly I want to I can't say without thanking our maintenance staff. This was something that we decided to do about 6 months ago. So they have really worked themselves to the bone to try to meet all of our demands at the leadership level in terms of what we're trying to do. But the last thing I'll say is that Danville is a community that's in the middle of a transformation, and it has to begin by investing in our young people. So it's an exciting time to be in Danville. It's an exciting time to be a part of Danville Public Schools, and it's going to be a very exciting time in a few days to look into the eyes of that young person and see the hope and enthusiasm because they're in a new learning environment.
Open houses. Where could you find the open house schedule if you're out there in the community, you're watching us right now and you want to know where to visit? Can we find that on our website?
That's on our website, but we also just sent, I know we sent a press release to all the local media outlets with that information, so it should be on the school division website and certainly on your school's website. But I believe open houses are scheduled for August 6th and 7th of next week.
Want to say to everyone out there, once again, Dr. Jones and I want to welcome you to a new school year, an exciting school year, especially right here at Woodrow. When you come back on the 9th, this is going to be a totally different place because those wonderful maintenance workers he was talking about, they are transforming this building as we are standing here. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to watch us this week, and be sure to come back each and every week to find out what we're doing. Thank you.
Have a great year.
Yeah.